Today's car talk is going to be all about motivation and hope, because I want to prove to you how freaking much you can accomplish when you really put effort to it. I'm going to give a few personal just experiences with it, and then after that I am going to just give you some banger quotes or a speech. That's what I'm trying to say, for you to just pursue what you think is right. But I want to start off when it comes to the physical part. I wasn't always a heavyweight. I wasn't always built the way I am right now. But I have been dedicating the past, now it's been 7 years since I started calisthenics, but I started to see good results already after a few years of commitment. And I want to make it really clear that if you dedicate 3 years, you're going to see some insane results. I mean, insane results in 3 years. And if you just take the percentage of your lifetime, 3 years is nothing. It's absolutely nothing. So if I hear anyone not willing to sacrifice 3 years, and it's not even a sacrifice, if you do it in the right way, you find a way to enjoy it, and you commit 3 years, that's more the right sort of phrasing for it, you are set. And this is the thing. I recently spoke with a friend of mine, and we discussed that if you spend 4 years on a business, so freaking much can happen. And I didn't believe that was really true, because I look at these extraordinary businesses in the past, and I always got overwhelmed with how much it is. But it wasn't until I started, since half a year now, only pursuing my own business. And what I mean then is just getting income streams. It's various income streams, but just putting all the time I have, 24 hours, including my sleep, onto just getting better, getting more income, getting more self-development, all of these things. And a lot of things have happened in 6 months, way more than I expected it to. I'm far from being a millionaire in that sense, but I actually live from what I love doing. And if you would have asked me 1-2 years ago, I never thought that would be the case. I thought I would still be studying mechanical engineering, which is what I quit this summer. But that's a bit off topic. But either way, a lot happened in 6 months. So now I'm at the stage I can't even imagine where I will be if I dedicate actually 2, 3, 4 years to it. And the reason I'm saying this is because it's so true. With anything you do, you don't even know how committed you can be until you actually are committed. You can always think, I can't imagine myself putting this time in, and that probably is going to lead to a certain outcome. But until you actually try it, you have no idea. I, of course, understood that if I dedicate all my time to social media, I am going to expand. I'm going to get more followers, more attention, more money, more incomes, more everything. But until I really tried it, I never really got to experience what it actually was. This year, going a bit more back to the training, has been one of my most committed years ever. And I shared it on YouTube, which I'm extremely happy for, because at any moment of time, any person in the world can go back, follow my workouts this entire year, and just put it all together and see, okay, so this is what he did, and this is the outcome. And I'm fully transparent with everything I do. And that I am really grateful for. But what I want to say with this is that it's been my most committed year, and it's also been the year where I have gotten the most results ever. I thought I was committed back in the days, but it wasn't until I started with YouTube, never missing sessions, taking my diet really serious, and just planning everything more in detail, that I understood how committed I could actually be. I was to some degree lying to myself in the past, thinking I was giving it my all, even though I was maybe giving it my all at that time, but my mental stage wasn't probably ready for my full potential. And as we speak right now, if I look back at this in 1 year, I'm probably not even going to be close to what I'm doing then. Because now I feel like I'm giving it my all, But it's probably gonna change. Because as I'm doing more, I get better at what I'm doing. I understand that I can probably do just slightly more each day. It's gonna add up to become way more than what the current state is right now. And all of this, you gotta have that in mind, that as soon as you give it a try, you start to taste the results. That is the spark to something big. And right now, I'm more motivated than ever to keep training, pushing. I'm more motivated than ever to make more videos. I'm more motivated to stick with my diets. I'm more motivated to do everything because I lived or I pushed through the periods where I didn't get results, but now I've started to really taste it. And now I get hungrier for more. And now you really see why I'm so motivated to it. And I want you to feel it. Sometimes that is hard through the screen, but that's why I try to always give like examples. I want to show, I want you to know that you also can do it. Like if you have one thing you feel like super committed to, you give that a try, please stick for it long enough for you to see results. Because that first hit of result, that is what motivates you to continue. I think I mentioned this at some point, but when I started training calisthenics, I never thought planche would be possible. Like, never. I would, of course, like everyone else, start with a tuck planche, and that one was harsh. Thinking, how the freak is the legs even gonna go out from here? I was thinking that sit-ups would do the job. Like, yeah, maybe if I get just insanely strong core. Then I started to understand the dynamics of the movement and understood that, yeah, the core is a part of it, but it's not going to be enough to get those legs out. And it wasn't. But I continued training. I listened to the advice I got. I evaluated my training as well, what was suitable for me. And slow and steady, I worked to advanced tuck. I then got the straddle planche. And at straddle planche, I started to understand maybe full planche is possible. When I got the full planche, you see the spark here, like I get these small motivation boosts. I reach these small steps and that gives me more motivation and belief that the next step is possible. But all of this means that I need to be committed enough to actually get it. So I got planche and then I started for training for maltese. When I got that one, I understood maybe actually the pronated grip is possible. And when I have that one, it makes everything else seem more likely. Even though it seemed impossible back in the days. So everything adds up if you give it a try. I also did a run this summer. It was 15 kilometers. Nothing I would probably ever do unless I did it with a group of friends. But when I started running, I had a hard time running 3-4 kilometers. Because it just was so far away from the training that I usually do. Like I train short period of time with long amount of rest, and endurance is literally the opposite. But believe it or not, just after about 3 months of training running, not insanely much, like I added it 2 times per week maximum, sometimes even skipped one session just due to the scheduling. So I trained maximum 2 times per week for a few months, and I managed to do 15-kilometer run, obstacle course running. So it was not running straight, but it doesn't really matter. I did something I didn't think would be possible with my body in the current state, but just dedicating some time to it, it just turned out to be extremely possible. And that now put the mindset in my head that I know that if I want to do running again, this is roughly the amount of time I need to dedicate. But before that, I thought, yeah, it's probably going to take much longer time for me to switch up and get used to running. But reality is that it wasn't. And if you ever try a new training, like you move on to statics, you start training a bit of freestyle, or you start training weighted calisthenics, maybe it's any area that's new for you. When you take it serious for a little while, and when I do coaching, for example, I do recommend people to do more than 1 month. Because 1 month of training, that is pretty much, you can push the body pretty damn hard. But that's not when the results is going to be shown. Because it's not when you're just tearing down the body. It's when you've been tearing down the body in a, of course, relatively good way. And then you have a deload week or enough recovery at least for you to be fully back on track. And then after that, that's when the result is shown. So if you just take a span of trying a new workout or training for a skill or whatever it may be, if you train about 4 to 5 weeks, you have 1 week deload, and then it's going to take a few days to just get back, because after deload the body is always tired. It's like it knows it's in a deload state. So the first session after deload you just feel weak. I don't know the perfect English word for it, but I think my explanation will do it. So it takes 1 or 2 sessions to just get back to full power, and that is when the result is shown. And this, now we're talking on a 6 to 7 week time span. But if you can do that and see the results, that is when the motivation is going to come. So if you ever try something new, stick to it at least long enough to see results, or long enough for you to really know that it's not working. But from my personal experience and for people I've met, people I've coached, if you stick with it long enough, unless you're doing something completely wrong, you will see results. That is just period. And if you don't, you might be lying to yourself. You're doing the majority of things, but there might be a few things that you know that you could do better. And if you were to change them, maybe that is the actual factor that is determining how much results you're going to get. But I'm not here to tell you why you're not getting results. I'm here to tell you that you are going to get results. If you stick to it, you do things the right way, like, the world is yours. Pursue it. And that is going to be pretty much it for this car talk. I didn't have the craziest subject today, but I really hope it motivates you a little bit. And I also want to say that for me to help people is the #1 thing. Sometimes it might take time for me to read comments, it might take time to answer, but whenever you have a personal question or whatever it may be, send a DM on Instagram, send a comment on YouTube, and I will try my best to help you out. And in the worst case scenarios, I might just see your comment, not being able to answer fully because it might be just too overwhelming, but I might have it in the back of my head and bring it up in a future video, answering it, because I do know that all people, or any question asked, there's someone else wanting to know the answer to it as well, even though they haven't asked it. So sometimes I do bring up things, subjects I talk about, they are usually inspired by comments. So if you ever have a question or a thought, put it in there and it might be in a future video as well. With that being said, let's go in and do a Maltese session, because I'm fully committed to getting that pronated Maltese solid. See you in there. And pretty much like always, we're going to start off with some handstand holds, 1 arm and 1 arm flag. I am running extremely low on liquid chalk, but just ordered 3 more packages, so they will arrive. But if I am failing a lot today, I am going to blame it on the grip. Bad excuse, but some degrees reality as well. If you don't have the grip in 1 arm, it definitely makes it harder. Not bad. Was a bit too eager on the 1 arm to get the hand up. I think it looks really aesthetic. But we're going to do 1 more set, just trying to get an increased hold. 1 more flag, and then we're moving on to the pronated Maltese. Thigh. Pretty solid 1 arm. It definitely takes some strain of the core connection. So even though it's another arm and I feel strong in the protraction, pushing away, the just lower end the core, the lower back, that one is sore after one arm hold. So that's why the flag is usually a bit worse if I do longer on the on one of them. But yeah, win-win either way. I am satisfied with these 2 sets. Let's move on to some Maltese. Not bad. Definitely feeling slightly heavier than usual, and last couple of 3 days as well. My sleep haven't been the best. I'm down to like 6 to 7 hours, which is really bad. It's just been early mornings, a lot of working behind the computer, which is not the best if you combine that with being an athlete. But that's what we're gonna do from time to time. And I do feel the effect. Pretty tired just overall. But despite those kind of circumstances, can't even talk, it felt pretty alright. I think if solid few seconds, connection was there, and yeah, I would definitely call it a hold. But let's do 2 more sets, see if I can improve. Ugh. It's one of these days I feel more in the thumbs than literally any other part of the body. But it's insane. Like, I've really started to feel the connection way better. Like, I can slightly at least press away in the Maltese. So I'm further down. I still feel like I can lift up my body to a certain degree. It's not like I just constantly fall, which is where I started off. So that's really awesome. But one thing that is just a common pattern if I'm tired, it's the hands that I feel the most in. The thumbs, the grip, that one is harsh. And then my body usually, as long as I eat pretty alright, I feel like I still have connection, form and everything, but I just feel pain in a different way. And I guess that's more mentally training. But let's do 1 more set. I'm more satisfied with this one, I think. I'm gonna have a look as well, so I just don't talk. But it felt much better. Let's do 1 more. I had a look, and the previous one was definitely better than the first one. First one wasn't bad either, to be honest. They are actually overall pretty solid. And I'm just surprised how well Maltese has been performing for the last couple of weeks and months in general. But last couple of weeks has really been insane, especially considering I weigh in at 90 kg, which is just a level I never thought I would be at with this weight. But let's do 1 last set. I'm freaking happy. That felt solid, good amount of time in the actual hold, and I think the form was pretty decent as well. Let's move on. The supinated full planche hold. Usually my daredevil, but maybe it's a good day for that one as well. Pointed toes. Not too bad, I don't think. Might have been some just skipping the protraction or start to retract almost, but that's my feeling. Then again, with pointed toes, I also try to lean a bit more than usual. It might have been good. This is one of these skills I just don't know exactly where my body is. For front lever, like, I have pretty good control. I can feel if I'm in a good straight line. I can feel if I'm tilting. But the supinated full planche, I'm lost. Sometimes my bum is too high, my legs are pointing down. Sometimes the protraction is completely off, and I just can't really tell. But I guess that's also one of these things just you get with time. It just haven't really clicked for me yet. But let's do 2 more sets. I did have a look on the previous set, and that was freaking solid. Like, the form was pretty on point, not really any bad angle, good connection with the pelvis tilt, which is usually also a hard thing to get in the planche. Easy to just get the bum up, or at least common thing, and it's been one of my major problems. But that one was solid. Protraction pretty alright as well. So let's see if we can keep it up for the last one, or for the second one. Might have lost protraction just a bit more than last set. It did at least feel like it. But let's have a look. Either way, I'm pretty satisfied with how it's turning out. I'm also taking slightly less rest than usual. I am on a bit tighter time schedule today, so I am pushing through these reps or sets pretty quick, which is not the best for peak performance, but it's better than nothing. So let's do one more. Gassed out. Holy crap. But overall, super satisfied with the Maltese and the Planche as well. And this means that next up we have weighted dips. I am also for the future now going to try to add like 2 more, I think, just isolating exercises. So that includes straight arm raises, which I did in the past for the Maltese. That's something I want to add after dips. And then also hyperextension with some ankle weights. So I did have a few at home, ankle weights, and gonna bring them here and add them at the end of the session. Today it's gonna be a bit too tight to perform them. Maybe I have time, we'll see. But that's the plan for the upcoming trainings. It was just so much people today, so the whole setup is almost full. And for recording, I do want to show my respect by not recording other people, and therefore there wasn't any good space for dips. So I will do the straight arm raises in between. I'm gonna go for the supinated grip, still for the Maltese, so I'm gonna do it pretty wide. But I do want to keep training the straight arm strength. And this is one of these drills I've been doing for a real long time, just conditioning the joints. And yeah, I enjoy it so much. It's also easy to incorporate progressive overload. You can activate the protraction while you're doing it as well, and you do get a lot of simulating things for it. And for Maltese, I have flat bench, because that is where the pressure is going to be the highest and as of the real scale as well. If I were to do this one for supinated planche, the angle is way different. So I would angle the bench as well, and thereby having the most pressure when I am straight with my arms, which is simulating planche more. So it really depends on what you're training for, but Maltese, flat bench. Crazy. 9 reps, but that felt extremely good. I just love this exercise, to be honest. Now I'm doing it with 20 kg. I don't remember the exact number I ended on when I did the straight arm races in the past, but I know for a fact that 20 is really good. So that's where we're starting off. All these ones I'm going pretty much to failure. Could push it just slightly more, but we're extremely close. And that's also when I need way more rest in between, and rest in between is what I don't have. So that sucks a bit, but I'm gonna try to push through these ones so that we at least can rest just slightly more in between the dips if we are to get a spot. Let's do one more. Let's move on. 100 kg dips. We did get ourselves a spot to perform it pretty well on. This is the one I usually have, like to have it on the edge, and it is 100 kg on the belt. Let's see if we can get at least, I think, 7 reps for all the sets. I would be happy with today, considering I did a bit more than usual before, but let's see, maybe we can push it to 8. Fucking setup. I think that was 8 with the first one that I did touch the step up on, but pretty solid. Slightly more control than usual as well, which is nice. Especially now after training conditioning for the joints, I do feel a bit more sore here, and therefore I don't want to do the fast snatches. Just feels like you're in a bad position. One more. Let's see if we can get actually the 8 in a row. The other one I did get some rest in between. Don't think it made a major difference, but something. Still 8 reps, but it's starting to feel the fatigueness. But this is the last time I'm gonna do, like the one after this. So I'll take as much rest as I can and then see if we can pump up 8 more. All right, last one. Oh, barely. Good thing I got that extra rest. Otherwise I would be pretty screwed on this one. And that is pretty much going to be a wrap. And if you did stick around for this long, it definitely tells me that you are extremely committed to training, you're willing to learn, and that's exactly the type of people I want to have inside the free Calisthenics Masterclass. I'm going to leave the link up here for you to find out what it's all about. But trust me, it's where people come together and I teach you how to make some serious gains within mass, but also statics. So check it out and join us in there. And for the future trainings now, I am going to try to add a bit more isolating work, like the straight arm raises, but also combine it with hyperextensions for the lower end as well. Get that connection pretty solid. And besides that, I think it's going to be pretty straightforward. Hoping for some serious gains, and it's only 2 weeks until the India trip. So a lot of things. And I also did just buy a Osmo Pocket. Some of you may know what that is, but it's a really small, convenient camera. And I will be recording the full India trip, really get into the vlogging for real. And, or at least that's what I'm hoping. I'm going to film as much as possible and share it with all of you guys. So hit like, subscribe so you don't miss out. See you in the next one. Choo-choo!